Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to another episode of Tuesdays with Terrence. Let's make it public. I want to make it public so everybody can see. Hold on. Let's make it public. Let's make it public. Yes, I am so excited. Let's make it public. Let's make it public. It is now public. Welcome to another episode of Tuesdays with Terrence. My name is Terrence Bardui. Some people call me H. Some people call me Havis. Some people call me Terrence. Some people call me Mr. Bardui. Some people call me Little 6'7", Whitey Kubuli, tall as her body, the Commonwealth of Dominica, St. Luke's Parish, Point Michelle, aka La Pointe. You call me Luku Boy. Yes, Dominica made me. Boston raised me. Now the South sustains me. How are you people doing? Hope everyone's doing good tonight. I'm so excited tonight for my show. I'm so excited. I have a very, very, very special guest tonight. And those of you who are coming on, ask people, I gotta just take my time. I'm so excited. I hope people are starting to come on. There is something I want to do, though. I want to put it on my page, but I might do it after at 8 o'clock. Let people look at it. People are starting to come in. I hope people are doing well. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to Tuesdays with Terrence. Let me take a sip of my ginger ale. Yes, since I don't have any ginger. Folks, I have a great show planned for you tonight. My special guest, you'll get to see him in a little bit. For those of you who've been following, let me show it. You guys can get to see who it is. That will be on my show in a minute. I hope that you've had a great day. Hope your week is going fine. Hope everybody had a great Easter and Mother's Day is coming up. I'm so excited tonight. But just before we do that, let me just take a look at that. Let me just play my theme song. I got to play my theme song so that we can get into the mood. So let me go play my theme song. It's so funny, right? I had it queued up, right? But I had to move it because there was something else I had to do. So anyways, we're going to play our theme song and then we're going to get our show started. For those of you who are coming in for wherever you're looking at, let me actually go live on Instagram as well. Go live on Instagram. Yes. I'm live on Instagram right now so people can tune in. Yes. So let me find our theme song as we getting ready for my show. I hope everyone's doing well. The song says you don't have to be a star to be on my show. You don't have to have a million to be on my show. But tonight, I have a superstar on my show. So here's our theme song, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Tuesdays with Terrence. Welcome.
Family, come as you
are. Family.
With just your heart, and I'll help you win. Are you rejected or hurt? Send me your word, much more than you put in. Need no superstar, 'cause I'll accept you as you are. You won't be tonight, 'cause I'm satisfied with the help that I can provide. You don't have to be rich some way to be on my show. You don't have to have a million family to be on my show.
Boom. That was my baby sister all the way in Atlanta, Georgia, Miss Mina Thomas, formerly Bardui, aka from Dominica Badwill. telling you don't have to be a star to be on my show. You don't have to have a million. But tonight I'm so excited. I want to say welcome to Peach Goodwill. Good evening, my business partner. Hey, we got to talk tonight, man. I hope you don't fall asleep. We got to talk tonight. I hope everybody else is watching. Welcome to the show. I have a beautiful show planned for you tonight from wherever they are. I have a very special guest. Before I do that, though, should I put some dirty laundry out? Nah, I'm not going to do that. Esther Duran Casimir Sakafet, Jean Good Hope, all the way in St. Martin. Welcome to Tuesdays with Terrence. And anybody else who's watching, if you put something in the chat, I can give you a shout out. If you don't, I might not be able to see you. Or I might thank you for tuning in tonight. And those of you tonight, I want you to share this live. Share this live because I have a very, very, very special guest tonight. And I'm so excited. Let me tell you guys just a quick story. Before I do that, let's check. This is a financial services show, right? So let's check what the markets did today. For those of you who were worries about the markets all the time, my clients never lose a penny. The Dow Jones was down 389.83, 54.58. The S&P was down 43.47. Guess what? All of you all who are in the markets, your 401k, your stocks, your mutual funds, all of it took a hit today. But my clients, they sleep like this. They never lose a penny because zero is a hero, folks. Let me make it very clear. I'm not opposed to investing, but you guys need to think about guarantees. Guarantees. So tonight, special guest, how did we meet? Back in 1997, I was an investment rep at Evergreen Funds in Boston, Massachusetts, right? And one guy came up to me just before we left from work, and he said to me, Havis. No, they didn't call me Havis. They call me H, the H factor, because I used to get great reviews for my customer service. And there's a company called Dalbar who monitors financial services companies. I used to get these awards for my great customer service because, hey, Dominicans don't like to blase. I got the gift of gab, right? Anyways, this guy said to me, there's a guy from Dominica as a rookie free agent with the Celtics. I'm like, get out of here, you idiot. You mean the Dominican Republic probably, but not Dominica. Ain't no Dominican playing professional basketball or trying. Listen, man, I left Dominica since the 70s. And what do I know? I never saw basketball in Dominica. All I know was volleyball, cricket, football, rondas, netball. But anyways, the only Dominican I know who played for the Celtics remember the late 80s, early 90s was or mid 90s was Tito Horford, Al Horford, who currently plays for the Celtics. His dad briefly played with the Celtics. He played at the University of Miami, right? So I'm like, you must be crazy. So guess what? I go home after work and I turn on Channel 5 News and the sports come on and I'm getting something to eat and they say, hey, there's a rookie free agent from the island of Dominica, Garth Joseph. I said, what? This guy was serious. I left my food, I got in my car, and I drove to Waltham, Massachusetts. And I'll tell you in a minute how I got into the venue. But tonight, folks, without any further ado, I want to give the time to a special friend of mine. We've been friends for 28 years. 28 years. I'm going to unmute him right now. I'm going to bring him in some. I'm going to come away from the solo, exit solo. There he is all the way. He's in a hotel in, I'm not going to tell you all where he is. It's none of my business. But the thing about it is, he's on a business trip, right? He's on a business trip. But I'm going to play this song for him only because he's Dominican. Forward! La, 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 Dominica! You know what? I'm gonna stop it right, and I'm gonna put it right there. This is right where I'm gonna put it for him. Right there.
Let's go. Let's go. Forward we go. Forward we go. Forward we go. Forward we go.
Yes.
Forward we go.
Yes.
Forward let me go.
Forward we go, Gasa.
That take me back. That take me back.
Let me stop that. You know what though? You know what though? Since he's Dominican, right? And I'm Dominican, I'm excited tonight, right? You know, do you guys know about hold on a minute. I just saw something on my page, right? And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go right here and I'm going to copy it and share it on my YouTube and my WhatsApp, so the people who don't want to tune in or can't tune in on Facebook can go watch it on YouTube. I want to say we are live. We are live, Garth. I'm going to come. Just guys, just bear with me. Bear with me. We are live. But you know what, though, Garth? What we're going to do, man, is this. This is what we're going to do. We're going to say, bring back the milk and honey. Bring back, where is it? Bring back the milk and honey. I don't know if you guys know about this song, right? Let me see if he knows this song. Do you know this song, Garth? Do you know this song, Garth?
Love that song.
Wait now.
Look up on my
Chubby!
now we are going out of our culture. The oppressions of symptoms. We need to build back ourselves.
Bring back the milk and honey.
Get juice and good medicine.
Bring back the milk and cassava.
Coconut, oil and cassava.
Bring back the milk and honey. All right. All right. All right, let me stop, man. Hey, Garth, man, I am so excited that you're on the show tonight. Folks, my special guest is Dominica's own, the first and only basketball player to play in the I should say the NBA and the CBA, the National Basketball Association, and the Chinese Basketball Association. I met this guy back in 1997. I was an investment rep at Evergreen Funds, and basically someone told me this guy's trying out with the Celtics. I didn't believe it. And then I drove to Waltham, Massachusetts, and I snuck in the building, and I walked up behind the Celtics bench. Garth was a rookie free agent tracking out with the Celtics back then, and I said, Dominica! And he turned around and he looked, and he said, where you from? I said, La Pointe. And he said, Point Michelle girls are the best. Elizabeth Baldwin, you know that funny girls? Sweet in the waist, moving in my man, sweet body line, give me Point Michelle girls all the time. When he sing that, from there on, boy, he never saw me in my life before. I never saw him in my life before, but we actually connected. And Garth, it's been 28 years, man. I know you're in a hotel, and you know we'll try to give you some close-ups in a minute so people can see you a little better. Because for those of you who don't know, Garth is over 7 foot tall. All right, but Mr. Joseph, man, how are you doing, young man? Talk to us. Talk to us. How are you tonight?
I'm doing very good, actually. First of all, I'd like to apologize to you and your fans that the internet
Wi-Fi in here is kind of bad, so it's a little bit glitchy. But thanks for having me on. We definitely need to do this in person. So the funny thing about being in America is when you come into a state or a area that's very close to a friend, you want to see them, like yourself or Brinsley Charles. Even though I'm coming to North Carolina, it's 2-3 hours away from where he's at. It's not like Dominica. You say, "Hey, I'm coming close to you, my side."
And the funny thing about it, Garth, is
I was definitely hoping to be in studio with you because we haven't seen each other for a minute. But I mean, whenever we see each other, we pick right back up. But to answer the question, how I'm doing very well, actually. The lovely wife, lovely kids.
Alicia, how you doing, beautiful Alicia? I haven't seen you in over 20 years.
My mother and my sister Brenda now lives with me, so so you come home and you get a nice kubuyo red fish. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't be having any more fun. Our life, man. Life is great.
Well, that is glad. And again, folks, we apologize for the internet connection. Garth is in a hotel on a business trip, and it's just kind of like, we can't really, we'll have to do this again. But I am so excited that I have you here. Alicia, all right. I see her on YouTube. Alicia Sakafek. I know you know what that means. I know
she knows that. She spent a lot of time in the bar.
Garth, man, listen.
So she knows.
So we can start. All right. The funny thing about it is we've been friends for about 28 years now. This is a family show, so we're gonna keep our escapades on the professional side. Garth is a married man with a beautiful wife and beautiful children, and we want to respect that. So therefore, my buddy, I mean, there were some stories I will give, to make flesh it a little bit. But tonight, I'm just so excited that I have Garth with us. And again, the internet is a little shoddy. I apologize for that. I want to say welcome to my sister, June Bardoui, watching tonight in Boston, Bardoui Anselm, and Elizabeth Bardoui, Brooklyn, New York, and everybody else is watching. There's probably people watching that I don't know. Those of you who are watching, share the live. I'm very proud. My countryman, Mr. Garth Joseph. As a matter of fact, Garth, my mother's maiden name is Joseph. So as of today, we're cousins, man. So I'm not going to introduce you as my friend anymore. I'm going to be calling
I always consider
so
you
tell
brother.
us.
I always consider you brother anyway. So.
Boy, check this out. Alicia said, "Muela, ay, ay, ay." I love it. Boy, I have to come to New York and chat some patois. Boy, I love it. But you know what, Garth? Yeah, we've been like brothers, man. The funny thing about it is, I remember in Boston, you were staying in Waltham, and I would give directions like a GPS, right? But Boston is what raised me. Dominica made me, and the South sustains me. Tonight, I'm going to introduce a song that I'm considering for my theme song, and some of you will hear it. Tell me what you think. But tonight, Garth, just tell the people a little bit about your journey, exactly what part of Dominica you're from, and how you ended up in New York.
Well, originally, my mom and them are from pretty much Roseau, raised up in like River Street, Riverbank area.
And speak up, Scott, so we can hear you. Speak up if you don't mind.
So, yeah, my mom comes from Roseau, Boys Avenue, Riverbank, River Street area. At the age we moved up by close to Bath Road, Queen Mary Street Junction there, and eventually moving to Parish Peak. So I would say most of my formidable years was in Parish Peak. Big up Purple City, and was in Parish Peak till I left to go to America and come back to Parish Peak. So I ended up moving to Sylvania, but Parish Peak still in the blood. My mom still owned property down there, so definitely I would say a Parish Peak Goodwill kind of guy. Went to Goodwill Junior High School, so that area, well known. Eating Bobby Bakes, whatever it takes, what I mean. However, the journey kind of take me once I got the scholarship to come to America, then my kind of life kind of changed a lot. I started playing basketball, obviously, in college, and initially it was just to get a degree and go back home. But once the basketball kind of opened up some new opportunities and avenues, kind of like, followed that path and pursued that dream, which kind of like, tried out for the NBA, didn't make it in the beginning, but stayed around, played in a bunch of minor leagues, and then eventually get the opportunity to get picked up by the Toronto Raptors. End up getting hurt, come back, go overseas. So it was a lot of, I would say, growing pains, but I stuck with it, which saw me play about 11 years professionally and finish up about 3-4 years in playing in Guada with people like Marvin, John Baptist, which we will definitely talk about a little later. But.
Okay. Well, the funny thing about it is I remember I was so proud when Toronto, signed you, and then you got traded to Denver. By the way, Denver won last night with Kevin Willis, I think it was, right? Am I right?
Yes.
Was it Kevin
Yep.
Willis? Yes. I was very proud being Dominican. You've seen people, from other countries, made it to other Caribbean people. Like I said, Dominican Republic, Tito Horford, Al Horford's dad, played for the Celtics, played for the Atlanta Hawks. I think he played for a bunch of other teams as well. But, just knowing that someone from my island, and I was gone for so long, for those of you who don't know, I say Dominica made me, Boston raised me, and the South sustains me. I'm from La Pointe, Point Michelle, born at the former Princess Margaret Hospital. What all you call it now? Friends of China, something, hospitality hospital. Friendship Hospital, something like that. But anyways, Garth, it was exciting. And I remember you had a stress fracture in your foot, and rehab, and I remember your agent and all that stuff. And we did a bunch of stuff together. But I remember you going to Greece to play. As a matter of fact, my wife Sandy's in Greece right now on vacation, and her son enjoying it. She's sleeping now, but she'll have to check the show tomorrow. She says hello to you. I want to say hello to also Alicia Joseph, and who I've already said that, and I'm trying to think of somebody else who came on real quickly. Julian Johnson in Massachusetts, and everybody else was watching. The thing that admired me about you was that you used to call me big fella. Now I'm 6 foot tall. You're like a foot taller than me. You're like, how tall are you? 7'1", 7'2"?
7'2".
7'2". So you're a foot and 2 inches taller than me. And wherever we went somewhere, you call me big fella. And I remember the good old days in Boston. However, tonight it's about you celebrating your success. Right now, we're not going to tell people where you are right now, but you're based out of New York. You graduated from Albany St. Rose. You right now, tonight we'll talk a little bit more about Dominica and basketball. But Garth, what is it that I'm a financial guy, right? And when I first met you, I never pounced on that level. We were always friends. You today, what is it about basketball that brought you around the world and let you realize the importance today as a married man with children?
Sorry, break up on that. Could you repeat that, please?
I said, when I first met you, I never actually talked to you about financial literacy because I didn't want to mess up our friendship. And you actually confessed to me, you would have listened to me back then anyways. But
Yes.
But now you're a married man with children, and financial literacy is, a big part of what you do for your family. Going back and talking to your 24, 25, 26, 27-year-old self about financial literacy, what would you say to yourself and to tell young people who started off, whether they're playing sports or they're starting their career out in the field? What would you tell them, sir?
I would say surround yourself with people that you can trust, that's going to give you the right advice. When I say that, I mean professional advice, financial advice. Currently, I'm actually finishing my MBA, and I just finished a financial management class. And we speak a lot about financial freedom and wealth and all that thing. And one of the things I learned is that we, especially as a people, don't necessarily get those advice and that kind of education in terms of, hey, how can you be financially independent and how can you make sure that your family is taken care of at a young age? I was talking to the teacher, and I said to the professor, why are those classes not taught in high school or even before that? Because we don't have the uncle or the brother that knows this to come around and give us that little gem. Obviously, you and I became very good friends, and like you said, we never messed with finances or anything, because that's a fine line. Usually, friendships can go south. I'm not necessarily maybe in what you do, because your thing is a little more secure, but in like stock and investment, a lot of people have lost friendships and family because of that. So you need that professional advice, but you also need the education so you can trust that advice. And I believe as a 24-year-old, it's good, but I think you need to have that foundation in you earlier than that. And our community, as Caribbean Black folks, we definitely need that kind of education early in life, so we avoid some of the pitfalls. You're going to make mistakes, you're going to have challenges, but you're going to also be able to spot the opportunities. And it's never too late, as you can attest to that, but it definitely limits your opportunity to grow that kind of financial freedom that you talk about, because time is the biggest factor when it comes to a lot of those things. There, some of those things need some time to mature and grow, so you can see the fruits of your labor. So I would say to any young person listening, any young person out there, educate yourself, learn about these things. Don't leave it just for the big names and the big peoples and the different entities to do that. If you can learn now and start early, whether it's the insurance route or even the stock market. I know in the beginning of the show you talk about how the stock market was down, but historically the stock market always end up making you money over time. Obviously, you have to have a diverse portfolio to get that kind of a gain, but the stock market goes up. Most of the bad days are followed by good days. You eventually will make it. The nervousness and the stress is not good, but the key to the stock market is not taking your money out when the market's in trouble. It is to weather the storm. So again, these are things that you can impart on young people. The financial awareness, I think people need to be and know that there's several avenues to get that wealth. It's not what you do is very good. There is that one, but growing up, we were taught to hide the money under the pillow, or in the mattress, and eventually maybe put it in the bank, a credit union or something. But you see how much credit unions or bank give you. It's like point something of a percent. You're never going to grow that wealth. So you need to put it where your money is going to work for you and not you for the money.
Wow. I'm glad you're saying that, because there's so many young men who get into, or young women too, into professional athletics, and then they just squander it. Entertainer, whether you're John Doe or Jane Doe, it's financial literacy is key. But you know what, Garth? We're going to be going back and forth between sports and financial literacy, just so we can keep it 100. You played for Toronto Raptors, or you played for Denver. You had a cup of tea there, but still, for me, that's a monumental accomplishment, because you wanted to get an education. And correct me if I'm wrong, you were a math major, right? Because usually jocks are dumb, right? They call them dumb jocks, but you are the smart ones. I always tell you over the years, man, you're way smarter than me. You're way smarter than me, man.
I wouldn't say that. Mathematics was always something I liked. It was very analytical. It's very logical. I always like logic, so I gravitated toward math. In my later years, I kind of loved English. In the beginning, it wasn't so. In SMA, with my godfather would pass, Mr. Elwin. English was not my subject, but eventually in America in college, I kind of got a love for the English language. So, but math is definitely easy. It's logical. It's analytical. You can. It don't matter where you are, the answer is always going to be the same. So, a person might have a different perspective on a poem than you, or read a passage and get something completely different than you in English, literature class or whatever. But when it comes to mathematics, even like sciences, you don't know what the chemical result's going to be at the end. You put the same amount, the same chemical, the reaction might be different. With mathematics, if you get a different answer, somebody's wrong. So I always like that certainty about it. So yeah, I was a math major. In Dominica, I was a civil engineer. I did civil engineering in, back then it was called Clifton Jupiter Community College. I got a degree in that. I actually graduated valedictorian from that college, but I always wanted to be a civil engineer. I always loved the building of stuff. I still build furniture. Learned to build furniture by Cello and Davis Brothers and Sons. Worked construction for a long time. Learned to put tile from my auntie's husband, Herbert Charles Herbie from Fonkole. So I always was in construction. So I always thought that would be my life. Basketball was never on the radar. Growing up, I got to give kudos to some of the guys I raised up with that was superstars in basketball. I consider these guys superstars, like Bungie, Jason Richards, Ashworth Daniels, the guys like Carlisle Green, Donnie Robinson, all those guys, Mills, Bernard Mills. These are the guys I look up to in Dominica. I just thought these guys were great, and I would never be that great. It wasn't until I got to America college and went through the paces that I started seeing, okay, there is an opportunity in that. So education was always something I thought would be my avenue to success and get somewhere in life.
I see. Oh, this is a picture. This is a picture for those who can see. I hope you can see my screen, guys. Can you see my screen? Let me share it. This is a picture of Garth with Denver. Actually, Denver won last night. They came back and beat OKC. And there's so many stories that we have from our Boston days, but we'll keep those to our graves. But I wanted to say to you, Garth, that over the years, you've played in the NBA, so you travel a lot. I think you played in China, North Africa, Iran, Greece. I mean, how many countries did you play ball in, man?
Well, played for and travel is two different things, right? You're based in one country, but you do a lot of traveling. When I was in Iran, we traveled the Middle East, Dubai, Kuwait, even as far as Kazakhstan. When I played in Greece, we went to places like Israel, Turkey, Yugoslavia, just countries after countries. We were constantly. It had the weeks I flew to 4 different places, and I mean, you felt like you were living either out of your suitcase in a hotel or always on a plane. So you never knew if you was coming or going. So it was sometimes not as glamorous as the song. It's a little more hectic because you don't necessarily get the chance to, I would say, immerse yourself in the country and the culture. I always try to take a couple of hours to go see something in the country. Obviously, when I was based in China, I got a lot of chance to do a lot more Iran. But when we go to like a Lebanon, try to visit some of the historic sites. Syria, I love Syria before all that turmoil. But I will say, close to the end of my career, before I knew my career was ending, I got injured. I didn't even know about that, but I had the opportunity to play in Egypt, and there I was able to bring my wife and my 2 daughters along with me. Her brother and friends came and visited us, but that kind of changed the way I look at playing. Because before it was by myself, I usually play by myself. I didn't have nobody to worry about, but they were with me, and I had to protect them and make sure everything was okay. And the Arab Spring started just around the time I was there, and that really shook me, got me real nervous because I know I can handle myself. I'm Dominican after all. I can jump at the back of a pickup and thing. But when you have a wife and 2 young kids, it was a little jarring, and it kind of made me reassess what I was doing. And hey, you need to be careful where you go and play. But before that, it's like, hey, we're gonna follow the next block. We're gonna go where the next opportunity was, and basically just travels the world. But yeah, we played in a lot of dicey places. I mean, I was in Israel when they were sending Scud missiles over from Iraq. I mean, it was some crazy stuff in Yugoslavia. They tried to flip the bus over and burn us in the bus. So we had a lot of dicey stuff where we had to get out of situations. And even in Iran, I mean, we won the championship my first year in Iran, and we had to spend 3 hours in the locker room with the referees and all the legal officials because the people were going nuts. They had to call the military in, clear them out, and they gave us a military escort with tanks, trucks, and bikes, and this armed guards all the way for 2 hours from the city, and then we had to drive another hour to the airport. So they had to pretty much escort us out of there just so we get home safely. So, I mean, like I said, that was just because we won the championship. So, but definitely opened up a lot of eyes, and I was fortunate to see a lot of things. And the one thing I was talking to a colleague yesterday, and the one thing I loved about playing overseas is, besides the food, was the fact that it showed me that there's a lot in the world that bring us together that separate us. A lot of people in Iran are just like people in Dominica. A lot of people in Egypt have the same sentiments as people in America. So it kind of opened your eyes. And I think when you talk about in America or any country that have racism or any kind of a bigotry, if people get to among others more often and kind of like commingle, they will see that there's no need to hate somebody. Everybody have some of the same struggles and go for the same stresses, and we all try to make it in this world.
Okay. I want to say hello to Erica. I'm for real Freeman. You don't know who she is, but she know about you. And I want to say hello to Marcella, Oliver and Marcella, my sister-in-law. Remember, she still remembers you ate broth at our house in Quincy. So she says hi, Garth. She was just so excited. She's watching tonight, and there's many others watching tonight. My special guest is Mr. Garth Joseph, the first Dominican and only Dominican to play in the NBA, the National Basketball Association. His former team, Denver Nuggets. I put a picture up a moment ago. He's playing OKC. They won last night. He played in the CBA, the Chinese Basketball Association. He played against Yao Ming, and he's played all over the world. And Garth, let me ask you this question. And we had this discussion before. If you were born here, imagine if you had come here when I came here in the 70s. In Dominica, there was no AAU. There was really no basketball leagues. I'm going to tell you something. When I left Dominica, I did not know what basketball was. When I left Dominica, I know what cricket was, football, aka soccer, rounders for the girls, netball for the girls, volleyball, track and field. That's what I knew. I didn't know anything about basketball, but my brother who went to SMA back in the day was telling me that there was basketball in Dominica. I wasn't aware of that. So thinking about now, I don't know much about the sports environment in Dominica, and we'll talk about that a little later. And I think you're kind of an ambassador for that, at least for basketball. But do you think that now that the NBA has NBA Africa and people are all over the world, Europe, there's a bunch of Europeans in the league now. As a matter of fact, the best player in the NBA is probably a European, the Joker, and you got Luka. Back in the day, when you played, there was Tony Parker. I don't know if he played after you, but I think he was in the league when you were there. A bunch of Europeans, South Americans.
Yeah, Dirk Nowitzki.
Africans, but for Caribbean. Right, Dirk Nowitzki from Germany. But Garth, do you see Caribbean young men and young ladies, getting scholarships? I know there's no AAU to go to play ball here, whether it's Division 1 or 2. And like you, and I think too many people think about the NBA. There's other leagues too.
There's other leagues.
You see the Caribbean developing that, because we develop soccer players, cricket players. But what about basketball? What's your thought on that, sir?
Well, first and foremost, I want to say that coulda, woulda, shoulda, we don't know. Had I come up earlier, would I have been a better player? Would I have gotten more opportunities? Opportunities would have been there. Would I have grasped them? Probably. We don't. We can't. We don't have a crystal ball. We don't know that. It's a good segue, however.
But hold on, Garth. Hold on. Before your segue, how were you? How were you? How were you found to play basketball? You got to tell that before your segue.
Well, yeah. So in '94, the person I ended up playing for, Brian Bury at the College of St. Rose, brought a kind of like a hodgepodge mix of Division II basketballers, mostly his team, down to Dominica. And at the time, I was the treasurer of the Basketball Association, DABA. Mickey Joseph was the president. So when you run those kind of things in Dominica, the money is small. You got to pinch every penny. So not only do we have to do all the fundraising with, Fansobedo, we go sell chicken and whatnot, but also the spending of the funds. So I would go around with the team, and being around them, the coach said he kind of liked me. He wanted me to play, but I wasn't even good enough to play the national team. So he kind of asked them to put me on the team one night just to see what I could do. And he said, definitely I can work with you. He knew my education was there. He liked my attitude, but he wanted to bring me up the next year. And I had to kind of like say, no, I'm ready to go right now. He's like, nah, you got a lot of paperwork to do, but I already had the paperwork. So I followed the model, chance prefers a prepared mind. So I was already prepared. So when the opportunity arose, I could grasp it. So that could take 2 hours, but I basically had the right stuff done already, so I could just, I guess take advantage of whatever he was giving me. So it happened so quickly. I got accepted. They asked for a picture. Back then, we didn't have cell phones like we have now. We took a photocopy of my hand at Anchorage Hotel, faxed it to the school. When I got into America, it was a front page with the headline, "The rest is coming." But also, that was that. But also, my sister helping me get the funds to go to Barbados to get that visa in like no time. People like Norris Prevost, helping out where he could give me a loan. I had to pay back, but at least he gave me that money to help me pay and get stuff done. My mother paid him back within 2 weeks, but if I didn't have that access at the time, I wouldn't get that thing. So you always want to give people the right flowers, because Garth Joseph doesn't just happen. Garth Joseph happened from a lot of work, not from me alone, but my mom, people like Fansobedo, Norris Prevost, all the people that had a hand in getting me there, Brian Bury, my wife, all these people that have, through the years, through the pits, the highs, everything has been there. That's how you get where you're at. But to jump on the sports opportunity, everybody looks at the NBA. It's very tough to make the NBA. There's over 10, 12,000 people entering a draft. To get picked in the first place is tough. And a while back, I don't know what the statistics are now, but a while back there was a statistics out there saying 60% of all the first round draft picks, 60% of the people that was drafted first round, guaranteed money, never played after their first contract. So 3 years, 4 years, never played basketball again. Not just in the NBA, but ever. Not Europe, not China, never played. It's a tough job to get in and to play. And people think NBA is actually a lot easier to stay in than Europe. Europe is a little more cutthroat. But again, the opportunities, right? There are other places you can play professional basketball, not only the NBA. And this is what Marvin John Baptiste has put together. Marvin, like I mentioned before, is a Dominican that pretty much lives in Guadeloupe.
Right.
Dual speaking. travels a lot in Canada and Africa. He and I have been talking a long time about trying to get stuff where Dominicans can get that opportunity. We have guys in Dominica that have been working tirelessly, like Jerry Williams. You have Maggie Dunstan Peters working behind the scenes. Mills, Bernard Mills, these guys, that was trying to get guys trained up to go, but they still need the opportunity, and that's what Marvin kind of like put together, where he have the Caribbean Sports and Sustainable Development, where at the CSSD, he's putting stuff like the Creole Basketball Festival, where in that you have 4 countries now, but it's going to grow. You have African country, Benin, very big and developing country in Africa, and on the world stage, you have Martinique, Guadeloupe, and Dominica. We'll give you guys the dates in the future at the end of the show, but this is just a way of him trying to get things. And it's not just basketball. He's starting with basketball, but he's interested in this different sports, because there's a lot of African countries that have professional basketball, soccer, etc. You could go to India, you go to Australia and play cricket. So it's an opportunity outside of the American market for people to go to get to play. But it's not just to play, right? You also have economic opportunities and educational opportunities. Because I had friends and people like Coach that end up going all the way to Morocco and study, going to Cyprus. So you don't necessarily just go just to play and professionally make money. You can go get an education, and hopefully if we send 100, 10 can return to Dominica to give their expertise. So it's definitely more opportunities right now than when I was playing, and easier access. I remember trying to play for Iona College, and I couldn't get a video to the guy. The guy asked for a video.
Right.
The same with Colgate. They end up bringing a Donald Ford to Colgate, because the gentleman that was doing the recruiting used to vacation in St. Vincent, so he had more access to him. He came and see me in Dominica, and then he said, "Send me a video. Where do you get that?" Right now, every Deacon Harry has a cell phone. You can make your own YouTube video. Before, it wasn't that easy, so an opportunity missed again. But this is what I'm saying. Like now, we don't have as much excuses. The opportunities are there, and if the youth need sometimes a little push from parents and people around them, but the youth have to also. And Maggie, I talk about the youth. I know Maggie loves the youth, but the youth have to make an effort. Like I said, if I wasn't prepared when that opportunity arose, because it arose very quickly, I would not be here. Okay, so you have to you got to go to school. You got to do your work. You got to take care of stuff. You got to get your attitude in check. I know I'm teenagers at the house, and sometimes they kind of get a little testy with adults. But the main thing is knowing that the adults in your life want what's best for you, and sometimes you have to swallow your pride and stick it out, and do the schoolwork, get your grade up, so when the opportunity arose, you have that. You can just go do that.
When our daughter Ford got drafted, I was really excited because Colgate, he was Vincentian. I was really excited. Not as excited as when you got in, obviously being Dominican, especially now. Like I told you, my mother's maiden name is Joseph, and we're cousins now. You're not my friend anymore. You're my cousin, so I'm family. So tell Brenda and your mother I'm family now. But and Alicia, they all watching. But I want to say a special hello to Josephine Graham Etienne, my cousin, all the way in Dominica. Welcome, and everybody else who's watching tonight. I want to say welcome to Tuesdays with Terrence. My special guest is Mr. Garth Joseph, former player, former CBA Chinese Basketball Association player, former player in Greece, former player in Iran, former player in a plethora, Egypt, a bunch of countries. But the great thing is that we've maintained a friendship for 28 years now. And, although this is a financial literacy show, we're talking about, just our experience, and him being, the first Dominican to play professional basketball in the NBA. I don't know if you're the first Dominican to play professional basketball anywhere in the world. But Garth, in Dominica, right? I left in 3 years. It'll be less than 3 years. It'll be 50 years I'm in this country. I'm a viejo. Monsieur viejo. I'm an old guy. But the key is, and before I say what I'm about to say, Garth, we might go a little past 8 tonight. And my show usually is done at 8. And whoever who's watching on Instagram, you might have to go to my YouTube channel, which is Bardui Financial Services. My last name, Financial Services, and you can watch it there, or you can watch it on LinkedIn on my X, formerly Twitter page. You can watch it on Facebook, Bardui Financial Services, or Bardui or Havers Bardui on Facebook. You might watch it a little on there, because I think on the stream there's multiple people I see watching on Instagram. I want to say welcome to Didi Defoe, Erica, Karen Williams, and I am Lily. All these beautiful people watching. Welcome to Tuesdays with Terrence, and anybody else who's watching from different platforms. You can go into YouTube. You can, like I said, Instagram, LinkedIn, X to watch it after 8, because I believe Instagram cuts off the stream at 8 p.m. For those of you who want to continue with us, we're not going to be too long, because Garth is on a business trip and he got to get his rest. He has a long day tomorrow. But I'm so excited. My special guest is Mr. Garth Josie. But I'm going to tell a little story, Garth. Do you remember you remember one time we went out to a party, right? In Boston. I used to party back then, big time. And we went to Venus de Milo, or Bill's Bar. And then we met some folks there, and then we went to breakfast at IHOP. And remember, there was a young lady. You said to her, you said, how many months are you along? You asked the lady how many months she was along. In other words, she had a belly, right? And she said, what do you mean? You said, how many months are you along? And the lady said, I want everyone to see your face. And the lady said, I'm not pregnant. She had a big belly. You remember that? And that's one of the ones that's one of the stories I can tell. We had a lot of good times in Boston. Garth, as you remember back in the day, Garth would call me. I would tell him how to get. I know Boston like the back of my hand. Garth, Boston has changed dramatically because of gentrification and the infrastructure, the big dig and everything. Boston has changed dramatically, but I can't get lost in Boston. I may not know the new restaurants and places like that, but I can't get lost there. But those were some of the good times that we had. We go to Cape Cod, man. We would go to parties. We go out to eat. We'd have good times. And back then, Garth, I didn't drink. I like the party back then, but our friendship never died. Garth is so tall. Garth is 7'2". Garth has slept at my house back in Boston on the couch. He slept on the bed. We had a queen size bed, but Garth was like a king because he's 7'2". He slept in my house. He knows my kids. He just asked me about Junior today. Junior's 36. Chandler is 25. Dominica is 30. She graduated last year from Morehouse Medical School. But they're doing well. The kids are doing well. But the great thing about this, Garth, is over the years, we've maintained the friendship. You've been, I remember one time, I'm going to tell another story. You're going to laugh. One time we went to a party, Garth. This one is on me. We went to a party. And it was Quincy Market, Faneuil Hall. We went to a party. And I had told my wife, I sent a text message saying I'm hanging out with Garth, because she knew Garth, because we partied. But she never got the voicemail. And I got home around 2 when you dropped me home. You had an expedition, and you dropped me home. And when I got home, I forgot my keys. So I'm ringing the bell and knocking on the window, because it was in the driveway. I'm knocking on the window. And she says, why don't you go back where you were? I was too ashamed to call Garth. I slept in the car. Oh, man, the good old days. And Garth, those are the fun days of our fun days back in Boston back in the day. You know, me, you, Brinsley, my best friend Adrian as well. I know my niece Sandra Geese, and my niece Blanche. We were all, partying in Boston back in the day in the 90s, the good old days. But Garth, on a serious note, we've talked about, basketball, you playing in different countries in the NBA. What would you tell young people today? Because I don't even know if you've done with 8 guys who can play ball, young men. What would you tell young people who are contemplating, sports? I know in Massac somewhere, I've never been there, but I've seen it online. There's a basketball place, and I see they have teams. I don't know much about. I know about Dominica. It's so funny when I talk about Dominica, people laugh at me because I just say, "Where you going there, nah?" Dominica doesn't say "nah" and "we" anymore. So I go back to the 70s. So I know in Massac there's a place where they play. But what would you tell young people who want to get into athletics, not just basketball? Would you tell them to concentrate on their education? Would you tell them, yes, sports is an avenue to get you out, but also concentrate on your education? What would you tell them, sir?
No, definitely, like I said before, education is key. Attitude is maybe the most important thing. You have to have the right attitude. You have to be able to listen. You have to be able to take critical criticism, constructive criticism. You can't take everything personal. You got to swallow your pride at times. If you know where you're trying to go, if you know the destination, the journey shouldn't bother you that much. You should do what you need to do to get to where you need to get to. A lot of people want the fame, they want the fortune, they want the glory. Do they want to put the work in? It takes a lot of work, and some of that work is the academic part. Okay, you want a scholarship, you want to showcase your talent. You need the academics to get a scholarship and stay in school. So I would tell them what they see on TV. I think that's the biggest misconception about NBA and all this NFL and baseball and soccer. What you see on TV, it's a snippet of what these people do. You don't see them in the gym from a young age. You don't see them in the gym, even as a professional. You don't see a Steph Curry shooting 1,000 shots. You don't see that. All you see is he's making that buzzer beat at the end of the night, and you're like, he's a hero. But you don't see the work he put in. So you got to put the work in. And that goes with everything else. You yourself, you're at your job, you're a financial guy, you take care of people, you make sure people think. If you don't do your research, if you don't do your work, if you don't, pound the pavement, if you don't hustle, you cannot be successful. Your clients won't be successful. So it's everything you do. You got to put the work in. Okay, in my present job, I got to put the work in. I'm over here now. I'm doing stuff. I got to make that effort. So the work the work kind of rewards you in the end. That's what rewards you, the work. And obviously, you don't only work hard. You got to work smart. But if I have some coach or some teacher giving me nuggets, I always call these nuggets because the teacher is teaching you something that they know or they went through. Why would you not listen? The least you can do is listen and analyze what they say. So a lot of time you try to talk to young people about working out and doing certain things, and like, I don't worry about you. I already jump high enough. I already can do this. I already can shoot a basketball. I already can make a corner kick. I already can hit a six out of the. But there's other things you can get. If you listen, if you want to learn, you're gonna get there. But if you want to be, I know everything. Or who are you to teach me? I will tell you that. Remember Boston? Remember me in Boston, trying for the Celtics? I didn't make it there. I went to play in the minor leagues. I met a gentleman by the name of Antoine Hyman. Antoine said, "Hey, you got to meet my coach." The guy was in Boston. We came back. We actually had food in a wall from close to the Celtics facility. The man was 5'7", older gentleman, Jewish gentleman, looking like he never saw a basketball in his life. And I'm like, what is he going to teach me? But I was humble enough and desperate enough to say, let me listen to him. He talked to me for a minute with my agent. He told my agent to go, took me to the basketball court, put me through paces, a bunch of drills, running up and down, shooting the ball, different things. Then we went back to the very same diner, and now we're having lunch. And we go through the little niceties for about 10 minutes, and then he said, do you want me to tell you about yourself? Can you handle it? I'm like, I hope. And then he rattled off about 35 things I'm doing wrong. And in my mind, I want to pack up and drive back to Albany because this man is saying I'm terrible. And then he told me at the end, he said, that's a good thing. I'm like, what? He said, if you were doing all those things already and you didn't make the NBA, I would tell you I couldn't help you, but I can fix everything you're doing wrong. And he told me, if you give me a shot, in 7 months, you'll be in the NBA. And exactly wrong 7 months, I got in the NBA. But I had to swallow my pride. This is a 5'6" man, 5'7", telling me I suck. And this is what I have to do. This man never played basketball in his life. His brother was my lifting and strength coach. He lifted and played in college and high school. This guy never played basketball at all. But he had people like Antonio Davis. He had people like Ben. He was not a big guy, play overseas a lot. He had a lot of guys through the NBA. He had guy, I forget. But he had a lot of guys that played in the NBA, and they would come in and get tuned up for the season or overseas. And I was like, he must know something if these guys are trusting him. So listen, and it took a lot of pride swallowing because it was 5-6 hours a day, the two of us alone, or three of us sometimes, and him telling me, you need to do this. You're not doing this right. So, but I had to put the work in. And once he saw my energy and my effort, you remember the days I would be dead tired. I'm driving back and forth from Boston to Albany. Got to spend time with the kids. Got to do something.
Yeah, man, I remember.
So, the hustle was real. But, the one thing he gave me was hope. He told me if I did this, this is what I would get. And I trusted the process. I trusted the journey because I had that light at the end of that tunnel. I had that vision. And I'm like, if he said he's going to get me here, all I have to do is buy in. Man, you got me hook, line, and sinker. I drank that Kool-Aid, so I was ready to go. That is the advice I have for.
I'm glad you said. I have another story. I have another story to tell people to make them laugh. And before, I want to introduce a song that I want everyone to hear. That'll be my. I'm contemplating on my new theme songs. I inspired the song with the lyrics. It's not me singing. People think it's me. I can't sing a lick. But I remember, Garth, in 2000, 2001, you were a free agent trying out with the Wizards, Washington Wizards. Michael Jordan played on the team. He was part owner of the team as well, I believe. And Kwame Brown was the number one pick in the NBA.
Yep.
And I remember, I can tell the story because, it was, like I said, back then I used to party. And I've told this story many times. Elizabeth, as a matter of fact, Elizabeth has a picture of her and Kwame Brown at her home in Atlanta. But anyways, the funny thing about it is this. We were going out. And I had a minivan because I had 3 kids, right? Hivis Jr., Dominica, and Chandler. Elizabeth was working at BU at the time. We went to a concert. No, we went to a wedding. One of her colleagues was getting married. This Haitian guy, I forgot his name. So I left them at the wedding with her sister, and I came to pick you up, Kwame Brown, and several of the Washington Redskins. Not Washington Redskins, Washington Wizards at the time. The funny thing, I was hanging with you guys. I was 6 foot tall, and there was a guy who was short as me trying out. People thought I was part of the entourage. They thought I was trying out for the NBA as well. Skinny little me, but there was a place called Marche in Boston in Prudential Center, and we would go there to eat because you guys were staying in the hotel across the street. But I remember I picked you guys up. It was a Saturday night, and we went to a club. Remember, Kwame Brown is the #1 pick. I can tell that story now. So we were going to a club in Boston. So I picked up Kwame, you, I think it was Mike Jones, a couple other guys. We're all in the minivan, right? You in the front seat, the seat pulled back because you're 7'2". Kwame's about 6'10". A bunch of NBA players in the car. And we go to a club in Boston. And when we get there, at the door, I said, I'm going to let you guys out at the front, and I'm going to go park the van across the street. When we pull up, David Aldridge, who used to work for ESPN at the time, was at the front door. Kwame Brown is 19. He can't get into a club, or he should not get into a club. And in my wisdom, I'm taking you guys out to a party, and there were some clubs you could have gone to that was 20 or 18 plus, but you had to show your ID. And this one was a 21 plus. When we saw David Aldridge, I said, fellas, we can't go in there. You remember that guy? We turned around, David Aldridge from ESPN, because Kwame Brown was the #1 pick, and that would have showed what is he doing in that club. It would have been my fault, but we didn't do that. We ended up going to another club. Then Esther Elizabeth joined us there, and we had a good time. And some guy, I had a goatee back then. Some guy thought I was Kenny Anderson from the Celtics. He was drunk. He wanted me to sign an autograph. I signed it. Kenny Anderson stayed in school. But anyways, you remember that time, Garth? You remember that? That was a good old time. Remember that? You remember that?
I remember a lot of things. I choose to forget a lot of things too.
I'm giving the same stories, man.
It's a good thing to be when you getting older. You start having that selective memory, you know. But fun thing is, I got that opportunity to play with a lot of the legends I watched on TV from Dominica. So, like when I was in Toronto, I had guys like Muggsy Bogues, Mark Jackson.
Yes, Muggsy. You guys were in a
Willis.
restaurant. You guys were in a store shopping, and I came to see you on my lunch hour.
Kevin Willis. I had all these guys. Michael Jordan, I actually worked out for the Chicago Bulls. Michael actually, very cool individual, invited me to go see a White Sox game, but I was more worried about making the team, so I told him I'm not going to go. Me, hindsight, I would have gone anyway, but fast forward, I'm working out with the Wizards. Michael walks in, and I'm Garth Joseph. I don't think Michael would know Garth Joseph. I'm in the corner. Everybody's saying hi to him. He goes, Garth, you're not going to say nothing to me? What happened here? What you doing? And I'm like, inside, I'm like, oh my God, Michael knows me. But, you got to play cool. I'm like,
he still remembered you.
Yeah, I'm going to let, I know, but call you by name. Most, it just didn't happen with certain NBA superstars. Even the ones that wasn't great superstars yet, they just had that air about them. Michael wasn't that kind of guy. People like Charles Oakley was not that kind of guy. Mark Jackson. These guys wanted to take care of you, show you the ropes, help you out, give you whatever you needed. So I was fortunate to meet a lot of nice people. Vince Carter, he go up and down. Sometimes he's nice, sometimes he's not, but it comes with the territory. But fortunate to play for a lot of good people, whether it was in the NBA, Dominica, overseas. It was a great career. It was a great, I would say, experience and opportunity to meet people. The good ones. If I see them today, that's one thing about, just like the two of us, we may not talk for a while, but when we get together, it's like, oh my God, we never went anywhere. We talk, and we could talk for hours about.
And stuff. You always call me.
Huh? What's that?
And you always call me.
I got to make sure my brother is okay, what he's doing. I do the same with Brindley Charles. I know you guys leave Boston and left me behind, but my wife keeps trying to get me in the warm weather, so eventually I might trickle down to either Virginia or North Carolina. But the funny thing is, I got to find a place that's close enough, because this 3-hour distance, I don't need that nonsense. I want a place where I can say, hey, what's up? I'm picking you up. Let's go somewhere. I need that. I don't need long distance. Right. Because you can live in the same state and still be far apart and don't see each other for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. So I don't need that.
Right,
If I'm
right.
going to move to a state close to a friend or family member, I want to be able to interact with them.
Hey, God.
I have my brother up in Albany area now, Schenectady. Good thing I work it close to Albany, so I can stop by him and say hi, say, hey, what's up, Lambert, and we can have a little conversation. All the time, if I wasn't working in Albany, I wouldn't, even though it's an hour and a half, I'm not going to drive down here just to see him. I'm telling you right now. But because it's on my way to work, I can stop for an hour or two. So I need that kind of thing. Because the one thing you want is connection, and you lose a lot of yourself and a lot of that thing, chemistry and stuff, when you're not with that person or not seeing people, because you see it when the two of us just talk, and even though it's just audio or we do a little video, we all like perked up, like all lively, because it's like, oh my God, remember, oh, you remember that guy, what he's doing now? So sometimes you need that, and if it's in person, it's even better, So.
And listen, Garth, I'm going to put our business out again, but this one's a little safer one. I'm not going to tell people what store we were coming from on Newberry Street in Boston. We were coming from a store, and then we had gone into, back then they had a Virgin Records store. And when we came out on Newberry Street, back then, Dominic Wilkins was playing in Greece, France, in Greece. Remember? He was right on Newberry Street. He played for the Celtics the year before, or he was currently playing for the Celtics. And he came out and he said, hey, what's up, big fella? You guys, we chat. Dominic, he gave me some dap. He was driving a Range Rover at the time. Yeah. I remember that in Boston. Those were the good old days, man. But you guys, tonight, my special guest is Mr. Garth Joseph. There is something we're going to promote in a little bit. But before we do that, we're going to take I want to say Joseph Carbon and everybody else who's watching. Welcome to Tuesdays with Terrence. My special guest is Mr. Garth Joseph, my friend, my cousin, and my brother. His last name is Joseph. He's my cousin. My mother's maiden name is Joseph from Maho. But anyways, the funny thing is that, Garth, it's important that that we reminisce, and this is a financial show, and we'll talk about this. I want to say, why aren't you my client? But the thing about it, you've asked client, and as a matter of fact, today I was supposed to be live with you, and you were supposed to be my client, and we were supposed to be doing some business. But we will talk later. We'll get that in. But check this out. We're going to take a little break, and the break that I'm going to take is I'm going to share something with you guys. All right? I'm going to mute Garth for a minute. I'm going to mute him for a minute, and I am going to put myself on solo screen for a second, and I want to share with you guys. My theme song is, you don't have to be a star to be on my show. You don't have to have a member on my show. I got a superstar on tonight. But there's a song that I inspired, and I gave them, what I wanted in the song, and people think it was me singing. I can't sing a lick, but I'm going to let you guys hear a song that I want to use as my theme song, right? And tell me what you think. Be honest. Put it in the chat. If you like it, say you like it. If you don't like it, say you don't like it. But I kind of like it. It's going to talk about me, my journey from Dominica. In my introduction, I usually say Dominica made me, Boston raised me, now the South sustains me. So I'm going to play this song for you guys. Tell me what you think of it. I'm contemplating that being my new theme song, and probably try to get my sister to sing it for me again. But this is what they came up with the words inspired by me. Tell me your thoughts. Here goes. All right, let's try to put it up. All right, hold on. Something happened here. Let's try it again. Let's try it again. Let me try to turn it on. All right. Let me show Garth.
Dominica made me. That's where it all began. Island breeze, coconut trees, the heart of my plan. From the hills and the smiles to the songs of this, that island spirit molded the person I'd be. Boston raised me with its hustle and grind. City lights shining, dreams intertwined. In the heart of this town, I found my way. A licensed financial pro, ready for the fray.
Tell me what you think, folks.
On those snowy streets, learn to stand tall, navigating life, every rise, every fall. From the commons to the brownstones, I made my claim. With every lesson learned, I embraced my name.
Boston raised me.
Boston raised me with its hustle and grind.
City lights.
City lights shine. And dreams intertwined.
Cleo loves it. Jaguabe.
A licensed financial pro, ready for the fray.
Woo! My possible new theme song for Tuesdays with Terrence. What do you think, Garth? Thumbs up, thumbs down?
Now the South sustains me with its warm embrace, a community of strength and love in every space. From the bayous to the beaches, I've found my place. This journey of finance, I've learned to chase grace. Dominica made me, Boston raised me high. The South sustains my soul as I reach for the sky. With every sunrise, I'm thankful and free. A licensed financial pro, just being me.
Woo! So here's to the roots, Dominica to Boston.
So here's to the roots that shaped who I am. From Dominica's beauty to Boston's Grand Slam. In the South I stand strong with purpose and pride. Together with my journey, side by side.
Hey, Mr. Garth Joseph, what do you think about the song? Tell me, guys. I inspired that song with my stories. Me now, the South sustains me, is what I say on my podcast, and I wanted to play that song. My old boss, Garth Joseph. Do you remember when I was a Sun Life of Canada? When you were trying out with the Washington Wizards, we went to Legal Seafood in Copley Place. Me, you, and Kwame Brown. I told my boss at the time, he's watching, my former boss, I still call him boss. He's retired now, he's in Florida. Mr. Louis Heiger is watching. And he said to me, can I get to meet Kwame Brown? I said, yeah. So he gave me permission to go to the restaurant and have lunch. And I went upstairs. I got him at Sun Life of Canada. And he came down. Mr. Louis Heiger is watching tonight. And Garth, you remember that time? We went to Legal Seafood in Copley Place. And I brought my boss down. He's watching tonight, man. Hey, Esther Duran says she loves the song. Josephine Graham, Etienne, my cousin, says amazing, amazing. Marcella says I love it. Absolutely wonderful. People are liking the song, folks. Put your comments in there. Cleo Coffee all the way in New York from Dominica. Jaguabe loves it. Some of my friends have already told me they like it. That might be my new theme song, guys. I wrote and inspired those lyrics. I can't sing. It's not me singing. It's AI singing. I basically told them what I wanted. I put my story in, and that's what happened. I wish I could sing. I would sing. I have to learn it. I have to learn it and play it on the guitar or something. But that's what I may start using as my theme song. Now back to the lecture at hand. Garth Joseph, man, we're having a great time tonight. We went a little over 8. I've never gone that long on my show. But my brother, Dominica's first NBA player and CBA player, my cousin, Garth Joseph, Ted Papa, your father had, my cousin, no. His beautiful wife, Alicia, is watching, and his children, I'm assuming, is watching well, and family members and others may be watching as well. Mr. Dale Benjamin, Garçon Saka Fête, man, congratulations to see you. I see you doing great things in Shreveport, and all of those Cadillacs. What do you think about the song, man? Tell me, that might be my new theme song. I'm very proud of you and your beautiful wife. You know, I was telling Garth about me driving all the way to Bagatelle back in the day, you know. But anyways, I'm so excited that my special guest is Mr. Garth Joseph, Dominica's first and only NBA player, CBA, the Chinese Basketball Associated player, Dominica's first Iran player, Greece player. He spent in Egypt. He spent a bunch of places, a plethora of countries. When he played with Toronto, I was excited. I know Karen Williams was watching. She lives in Pickering, Ontario, and she was excited. And the whole of the Dominicans, we were all proud when you broke the mold of the first Dominican. When someone told me a Dominican was playing, was trying with the Celtics, I thought it was crazy. And it's 28 years we've been friends, man. And this was supposed to be live. I was supposed to be in your hotel room in North Carolina tonight doing this, but I can't. Tonight, we've had a great conversation. And in a minute, we're going to show, actually, I think this may be a good time, Garth, I'm going to give you a solo screen, and I'm going to share my screen, and there is something you wanted me to show, and I'm going to put it on the screen, and I'm going to put it on my page later, guys. I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to go to my email, and I'm going to share that, and I'm going to go here. Hey, Garth, what is this, man? It says Creole Memorial Day Cup 2025. Can you elaborate a little bit on that, young man?
Definitely. This is the second one. They had one last year. This is a kind of trying to get our culture out there, Creole culture, using sports. Like I told you, Marvin John Baptiste, kind of like the founder of the CSSD, which is, kind of trying to sustain, what our culture is, Creole culture, and he linked up with the two Creole countries that is kind of like our sister countries. We kind of sandwich between Martinique and Guadeloupe, but he even reached out, and now we have Benin, which is African country, and it's one of the thriving, developing country, infrastructure, education, all that, and linking up with Benin, able to, not only look at sports, but look at the economic prosperity and economic opportunities for Dominica and other countries, kind of build this kind of a community where we kind of share ideas, whether it's trade, whether it's education, and this is just the start of that. And, if you can, see the dates, that we're going to be playing, it's 4 countries and 3 different islands. They're going to be playing in thing, but there's a trip already being talked about to take place in Benin and maybe some other African country. So it's definitely opportunity for not only Dominica.
It says May 22, 24th, and 27th. That's what it says.
Yeah. So it's not only for Dominica, Martinique, and Guadeloupe, but we're looking to get people like St. Lucia and other Caribbean countries in there, and keep that Creole culture. Obviously, there's going to be cultures that are not French speaking or whatever, but we know in Africa it's a whole multitude of countries that speak French and have that French background. And if we can link up and share what we all have something to give each other, and we all can benefit from that community. The one thing you learn about smaller countries, third world countries, is by ourselves on the world stage, we don't have that voice. You come together and start building that collective state, you have a bigger voice, because collectively you control a lot of the world economy, a lot of the world resources, a lot of the world education and stuff. So this is a start, and Marvin, I have done a great job with that. Of course, he got a lot of help in Dominica with people like Jerry Williams and Maggie. These people help a lot, but it's his brainchild. He's been trying this. He have a lot of ambassadors like myself and other ex football players, basketball players. So we're gonna get together. There's gonna be a lot of things coming from that, and opportunities for young people, both men, women, young girls, young boys, whether you play basketball, running, or you don't play any sport and you just want to get an education, there's going to be a lot of opportunity. Maybe you want to start in something and be an entrepreneur and invent something, develop something, or try to have some trade fairs where you can popularize or promote whatever product you want to add your country. So it's all positive vibes, and I want people to start, we got to study. Everybody maybe right now is clamoring around the TV.
That is
NBA
beautiful,
playoffs.
man.
A lot of people right now may be clamoring around the TV watching the NBA playoffs and all these things. Invest in your people. Come to support when the games are on. We have the indoor facilities, like you said, in Massage. Come and support. Spend a little $5. Come and give your voice and support and say, hey, we also have good quality basketball. We also have good talent right here in the Caribbean, in Dominica. And that's the only way we can put our people out. So I just say to everybody, please support.
Wow. That is awesome, man. I want to say welcome to Miss Anne-Marie Opong. She says she loved the song. And a bunch of others saying they love the song. Some people are personally letting me know, and I really appreciate that. Hey, Garth, our time has come and gone. I know you have a whole business day tomorrow. I don't want to take any more of your time, and we went over our time. Usually the show is only an hour. We went over an hour and a half, and a bunch of people have tuned in. A bunch of Dominicans are watching to, celebrate you, our first and only player to play in the NBA. And people talking about, well, he was only there for a cup of tea. Listen, man, first of all, a hater gonna be a hater. I don't care if he was there on a half a day contract. He made it to the pinnacle of his sport. And I believe, if Garth didn't get some stress fractures, and stuff, I think he would have gotten better opportunities. But life happens. People always talk about how jocks are dumb. This guy's not a dumb guy. He was a math major. He's almost done with his MBA. A lot of guys go play professional sports and they don't even finish their education. And some people didn't go to school because they didn't have the money. It wasn't the issue. Some of these guys had scholarships, but he's even made a confession to me that he might even go for his PhD just like Shaq, and he played around the time when Shaq played. My point about this is this, and he was bigger than Shaq when he played. Folks, I am so proud of my brother, my friend, my cousin, Mr. Garth Joseph. I'm so excited that you were on the show tonight. Garth, I'm going to give you 2 minutes to give your closing comments to the people. Thank you for coming on my show tonight. We talked about financial literacy. You said knowing what you know now when you were 24, 25, 26, 27. Although we never talked about business back then, our friendship was more about sports and having fun and chilling. Like I said, Garth has slept at my house. There's some stories I'll never tell you. It's none of your business, but there's some stories that we'll keep among us as boys. But I'll tell you this, guys. Having someone, Dominica is 309 square miles long. At the pinnacle, the population was probably 75 grand back in the day. I think what's the population now? Maybe 55 grand. Most of Dominicans, there's more Dominicans in the diaspora than there is probably in Dominica. And I'm very proud of the fact that a Dominican, not Dominican Republic, Dominican, like Tito Horford, who's Al Horford's dad, who played for the Celtics. Garth played for Toronto Raptors and he played for Denver, briefly, and he played in a plethora, a multitude of countries. I'm very proud of him, not because he's my friend, not because he's my my brother, not because he's my cousin, but because he's a countryman, and I'm very proud of him. For those of you who are watching, I got my Dominica shirt on. I could stand up, see, Dominica. I'm very proud of that. So, Garth, tonight, just before we close, what is the charge you want to give out to the people who are watching, especially people who as a matter of fact, you asked me, how do you become my client? And you will become my client ASAP. There's some stuff we'll work on. It's nobody's business what it is. But for people out there, why, and this is not an endorsement of me, although we're friends. People out there, why should they talk to someone like me? And what is your closing part that you want to the masses out there? Choose this with Terrence.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you to you to give me the opportunity to come on the show, not only to talk about me and our good old days, but also to popularize the Creole Basketball Festival, championships, and what Marvin is doing for Dominica. I'd like to say thank you to everybody that had a hand in getting me to where I'm at right now and still helping me out. My mom, my wife, my kids, everybody that has you, Avis, Brindley, anybody that Brindley was one of the first people to take me on the basketball court and teach me to do a hook shot. So anybody that had that influence, Fanso Beto, anybody that there, Mickey Joseph, whoever that had to get me there. As far as a financial person or somebody like you that helps somebody, I would say get financially aware. I think you're critical for the growth of our community, because without the knowledge, you're not going to go anywhere. I think that's why you talk to somebody like you. And it's not for everybody. Somebody might speak to you at the first time, not get it. You may have to talk to them several times. They may never get it. But not giving you the opportunity to explain what you do and how you can create that wealth and that financial freedom and independence, I think is a mistake. I think the more knowledge you get about stuff, the better you are equipped to handle the world. So I would say definitely listen to you. I've been listening to you, and I'm definitely making strides towards understanding first what you do and how it can help me and my family. So anybody out there and the youth, again, put the work in, do the time, work smarter, not harder. Listen to the people that's been through there. You can learn something from anybody and everybody. So don't think you know everything. Don't let your pride get in front of your purpose. Don't get your pride and your attitude take away opportunities from you.
Wow. Folks, his name is Mr. Garth Joseph. Garth, I want you to stay on the line as we close. I want to thank everyone for tuning in tonight. For those of you who liked and shared listen, man, I'm very proud. I'm a very proud Dominican. I say it in my I say it every day. I say every Tuesday at 7 p.m. I say Dominica made me. Boston raised me. Now the South sustains me. I talk about Whitey Kubuli. Tall is her body. I talk about Point Michelle, aka La Pointe. I talk about Little Boy, aka Luca Boy. And people who know me, Adrian, Adrian Garth. One time Adrian told me, man, Survivor is in Dominica. I got mad at him. I said, man, God said you mean Dominican Republic. You don't know what God saw mean. I said, you mean Dominica? He said, no. The first time I met you, you introduced yourself. You said I'm from Dominica and not Dominican Republic. I'm a very proud Dominican. Yeah, people, because I've been gone in 3 years, less than 3 years, it'll be 50 years. People think I'm not Dominican. There's people who know me. I'm fluent in patois. I can talk like a Dominican if you want me to. Sometimes I yank when I need to yank. But Monsieur Dominicain, famille Tien, Monsieur Jean Lapointe, nous pas qu'à jouer. We don't play. And what I do know is this, God, I am privileged, man, to have formed a friendship with you in 1997, July 1997, when you were a rookie free agent with the Boston Celtics. I never envisioned our friendship would grow so much. We've had good conversations, even when we talk on the religious part, you inspire me, man. I'm so proud of you. I'm really proud of you, not because of your basketball accomplishments. I'm proud of you as a father, a family man, your educational pursuits, and most importantly, the ability to correct mistakes that you've made in your life. We all have made mistakes. If we don't learn from our mistakes, we can never progress. I am very, very proud of you. And I couldn't see 30 years down the road because, by the way, I'm almost 10 years older than you. But the key still remains is that you're my little brother. You always call me big fella. And with that ego that I have, you call me big fella. I think I big shot there. I big boy, right? But the key here is this, man. I am so proud of you. I pray that everything you touch will become gold. Alicia, you've done a great job. You picked a good guy. Your kids, I know Garth Joseph Jr. I don't know the rest of the children. And I'm always in New York working. And one of these days, I just got to drive up there, get to meet the rest of the family. And we'll get to do that. Like I told you, Sandy's in Greece having a good time. And you lived in Greece when you played in Greece. So you know what she's going through right now.
My son was born in Greece. So.
Oh, that's right. He was born in Greece. That's right. And the key point here is this, Gaston. I pray that God bless you and your, not just today, but forever and ever. Amen. And to everyone who watched tonight, God bless you. This is May's Mental Health Awareness Month. Keep our mental health in check. If you need to get help, get help. You need to see a therapist. I saw a shirt that says, I got Jesus and a therapist. Folks, if it's okay not to be okay, if something is going wrong and you need help, get the help. So tonight, as we close, my new theme song, I'm going to close it out with our new theme song again. It's called Roots of My Rise. Garth Joseph, hold on the line for a second. As we go up, I'm going to meet you. But everybody, on here, Garth. As we leave, you can wave them good night, Garth. Tell them goodbye. All right. Thank you, Garth. We're going to play our song and then we're going to end it. We're going to end the show. Folks, thank you so much. From the roots to my rise. Good night, everybody. God bless you. Dominica made me. Boston raised me. Now the South sustains me. The show is called Tuesdays with Terrence every Tuesday at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We talk about income protection, debt elimination, legacy creation. My special guest was Dominica's own, the only Dominican to play in the NBA and the CBA, Mr. Garth Joseph out of New York. Originally from Roseau, Dominica. Good night, everybody. Good night. Like and share.
Dominica made me. That's where it all began. Island breeze, coconut trees, the heart of my plan.
Yeah.
From the hills and the smiles to the songs of the sea, that island spirit molded the person I'd be. Boston raised me with its hustle and grind. City lights shining, dreams intertwined. In the heart of this town, I found my way. A licensed financial pro, ready for the fray. On those snowy streets, learn to stand tall, navigating life, every rise, every fall. From the commons to the brownstones, I made my claim. With every lesson learned, I embraced my name. Boston raised me with its hustle and grind. City lights shining, dreams intertwined. In the heart of this town, I found my way. A licensed financial pro, ready for the fray.
Good night, everybody.
Now the South sustains me with
God bless you.
embrace.
Bonsoir.
A community
Bonne nuit. Arrivederci.
in every space.
Aloha.
From the bias to
Ciao.
the beaches, I found my place in this journey of finance. I've learned to chase grace. Dominica made me, Boston raised me high. The South sustains my soul as I reach for the sky. With every sunrise, I'm thankful and free. A licensed financial pro, just being me. So here's to the roots that shaped who I am. From Dominica's beauty to Boston's Grand Slam. In the South I stand strong with purpose and pride. Together with my journey, side by side.
Peace. Good night, everybody. God bless you. Hasta la vista.